Chaska, MN, October 2nd, Johnny Miller and Dan Hicks of the Golf Channel speak during singles matches of the 2016 Ryder Cup at Hazeltine National Golf Club on October 2, 2016 in Chaska, Minnesota. Photo by Getty Images. Getty Images. Org. XMIT. 672,195,567 less Chaska, MN, October 2nd, Johnny Miller and Dan Hicks of the Golf Channel speak during singles matches of the 2016 Ryder Cup at Hazeltine National Golf Club on October 2, 2016 in Chaska, Minnesota. Photo by More photo. Getty Images. Chaska, MN, October 2nd, Johnny Miller and Dan Hicks of the Golf Channel speak during singles matches of the 2016 Ryder Cup at Hazeltine National Golf Club on October 2, 2016 in Chaska, Minnesota. Photo by Getty Images. Getty Images. Org. XMIT. 672,195,567 less Chaska, MN, October 2nd, Johnny Miller and Dan Hicks of the Golf Channel speak during singles matches of the 2016 Ryder Cup at Hazeltine National Golf Club on October 2, 2016 in Chaska, Minnesota. Photo by More photo. Getty Images. Dougherty, Miller's legacy should serve as blueprint for tennis golf has analysts. Tennis employs apologists. That came into focus more than ever this week. Johnny Miller, on the short list of greatest analysts for any sport, is relinquishing his seat on NBC's golf team after nearly 30 years. Paul Azinger, who has established himself in limited stints with ABC, ESPN and Fox, takes over on Super Bowl Sunday. Miller deserves to be classified with the likes of John Madden, football, Tim McCarver, baseball, and Nelson Burton Jr., bowling, although Miller did it with more of an edge. During the 1999 Ryder Cup, Miller said, on air, "Of course, my hunch is that Justin Leonard needs to go home and watch it on television." In 2004 he said Craig Perry's swing was enough to make Ben Hogan puke. On a conference call this week, Miller said, "There has been quite a few of them that probably shouldn't have been said. Unfortunately, people love it. My heart is in the right spot, but the filter is not." It's what viewers grew to love about Miller. He was honest. He didn't have a filter. Fear of offending someone was not part of his analytical suitcase. So we turn over to tennis. Soundbites. 1 Yes Network will be light one analyst for Yankees telecasts this season, but it isn't Ken Singleton, who repealed his retirement announcement and will work 25 games. Al Leiter, who has been in the booth for 20 or so games for each of the past 12 seasons, told the New York Post that he is stepping aside to watch his son Jack play high school baseball. Leiter's departure means more of David Cohn, John Flaherty and Paul O'Neill in a still crowded Yes booth. Two mainstream media and NASCAR aren't comfortable bedfellows, but one TV analyst who helped close that gap was Ricky Craven, seen often on ESPN's SportsCenter. Craven revealed via Twitter that he is saying goodbye to the network after 12 seasons. "We're guessing that Craven, 52, was pushed out, since ESPN has little auto racing inventory, but his ability to explain NASCAR's nuances to an audience not necessarily in tune with the sport will be missed." 3 astute observers of Sunday's NFC Championship game may have noticed a quick less than a second cutaway to a blimp shot after Saints receiver Michael Thomas was tackled. It appeared just to be a technical glitch, but Thomas's pants were pulled down on the play. Rather than show him exposing his butt to a national audience, Fox went to the blimp. After all, the first full moon of 2019, which included a total lunar eclipse, wasn't due until later that night. The Australian Open got a lot of play this week on ESPN, which seems to make conflict of interest a prerequisite to hiring analysts. Mary Jo Fernandez is married to Tony Godsick, a sports agent with IMG, which represents Roger Federer, Maria Sharapova and others. The network's talent roster includes analysts who moonlight as coaches for various players. Most of them act as if they're still part of the locker room. The lack of objectivity in journalism in tennis telecast surfaced Tuesday night, when Serena Williams lost to Karolina Pliskova in the women's quarterfinals at Melbourne. Williams was serving match point at 5-1 in the final set when she was called for a foot fault. On match point, Shriver whined. Really, a foot fault is part of Williams' checkered history, although the announcers offered no historical perspective. At the 2009 U.S. Open, a foot fault started a Williams meltdown toward a linesman that, through penalty points, cost her the championship against Kim Clijsters. Back then, ESPN had Mary Carrillo to offer fair, objective analysis. She parted ways with ESPN less than 2 years later, by most accounts because she chose reporting over cheerleading. To her credit, Williams didn't complain about the latest foot fault, even though she appeared to have served an ace that would have won the match. On the next point, Williams turned her ankle on clearly wasn't the same. I have a feeling she's going to get through this one, for sure, 5-1 induced. Longtime play-by-play apologist Cliff Drysdale said, but what about the next round? As long as there's a ball is in flight, you don't assume anything. Williams blew 3 more match points and lost the set, 7-5, and the match. I don't know, MJ, Drysdale said to Fernandez during Pliškova's comeback. A foot fault called there on match point. True, Fernandez said, but it's hard for me to think that that was the only foot fault of the match, and it gets called on a match point. It's just an example of the shoddy treatment most of ESPN's analysts, who almost always refer to Williams only by her first name, give viewers. Lead play-by-play man Chris Fowler, known more for college football, is solid, but he talks more than needed for tennis. John McEnroe is the closest thing tennis has to an analyst in the Miller mode, but he has conflicts, as well. He was still broadcasting while he coached Milos Raonic. If Miller, 71, is looking for a new career. Tennis, anyone? Pete Dougherty is the Times-Union sports TV, radio columnist. Pete Dougherty at timesunion.com. 518-454-5416 at Pete Dougherty.